I've spent a lot of time reading about the creative process and the different ways people work. It's a way of procrastinating that I can rationalize as research. Once I knew I'd be writing my own book, I immediately bought every other digital influencer memoir I could get my hands on. I spent my first months of writing time actually reading, hoping that I could learn what worked and what didn't from those who set out to do this before me. As much of a distraction as my research phases are, it has been useful to hear about other people's routines, rituals, and processes, and how different they are. I can't teach anyone how to do what they want to do, but I can tell you what works for me. In these chapters, you'll find my advice on the creative process. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't, and feel free to loosely interpret whatever you want to get what you need. Find your voice. Most successful people will tell you to follow your dreams. I'd say fall into them because I fell into mine. After my sister died, I spent 2 years abusing drugs and alcohol and engaging in all that escapist, won't deal with my feelings, harmful stuff. LSD, MDMA, all the acronyms. But one day, as I sat stoned in my room watching TV, a Comedy Central special came on. Margaret Cho was doing a routine I'd never seen before. And for the first time in a very long time, I laughed. But even better, I forgot. I forgot myself. I forgot my pain. I forgot that Chris was dead. Seeing that show sparked something inside of me. After a couple of years of feeling dead inside, I experienced joy, hope, excitement. I became obsessed with the idea of standing on a stage and making people laugh. Seeing Margaret, an Asian woman, perform stand-up gave me the confidence that I could do it too. So I took out a notebook and began to write. I wrote down every funny thing that had ever happened to me, every funny thing I could remember saying, stories from my childhood and teenage years, thoughts and musings and random observations. I compiled a set list and performed it in front of my old DSLR camera over and over and over and over again. When I told a coworker what I'd been doing, he said he knew a bar owner who ran a stand-up show. He asked if I wanted to get up on stage. Hell yes. My first stand-up set was 8 minutes long. Looking back, I am always amazed. I mean, who the hell decides to give a first-timer an 8-minute set? That's insane. Maybe if I'd realized it then, I would have been more nervous. But I wasn't nervous. I was excited. All of my friends came. My mom and dad and brother Will came too. Make no mistake, my jokes were terrible. They were stereotypical and cheap. I compared my first time seeing an erection to a human witnessing Godzilla. I fully acted this out with no shame or self-consciousness. But hey, that's to be expected when you're first starting out. All that mattered was how I felt telling those terrible jokes. I liked being up on stage, and I wanted my writing to get better. And I loved the adrenaline rush that surged through me when I got a laugh. After that night, I was hooked. I started commuting to Los Angeles from Temecula at night to do shows. It was a 300-mile round trip, but I'd practice my set in the car, sign up for the open mic lottery at venues like the Comedy Store or the Improv, and wait to see if I got picked to go up. I did a lot of weird shows back then. Shows in front of troops in their rec rooms on base, shows in coffee shops, shows in loud bars, even burlesque shows. I performed wherever I could, whether it was at an open mic, a bringer show, where you're required to bring your own paying audience in order to get on stage, or a show that someone had scraped together in the corner of a restaurant. If the show was at a bar or a club, I'd have to wait outside until it was time for my set because I was only 19. I'd wait until it was my turn to perform, and then a waitress or a busser or whoever would come out and escort me to the stage, let me do my set, and then kick me out. My father and I even camped out on the sidewalk in front of the Hollywood Improv so I could audition for Last Comic Standing. We brought a giant pink princess tent because we thought it was hilarious. We stayed overnight, talking to the other comedians in line as I tried to choose which jokes I should tell. I didn't make it, of course. I was still so green. I remember the look of disdain on Natasha Leggero's face when she told me that I should keep working on it. I'm sure I gave her a completely oblivious look of